F-18 Winsboro.
Go ahead, F-18.
I'll be stopping a reddish-orange vehicle northbound on LA-15, approximately milepost 99.
10-4, F-18.
Winsboro, get me an ambulance. We have a trooper down.
In 1986, Louisiana State Trooper Bobby Smith was shot in the face and blinded by a shotgun blast. Today, Bobby is on a mission to build a center where emergency responders can get counseling they need in dealing with the stress and consequences of traumatic events.
Obviously, I remember everything about that from the time we left the restaurant until I'm in the hospital that night at 1 o'clock in the morning, not knowing whether or not I was going to live or die. Going back home after many, many weeks of surgeries, one right after another, and I'd finally go home, and these cops were always at my house. I'm going through a very difficult, long, dark valley. I've lost my career. I've lost my sight. I was married at the time, and my wife would choose not to stay, and I'd go through a divorce. I'd be placed on a medical retirement. You know, all these things were happening to me in a matter of 4 or 5 months. All these things are happening to me, but those troopers were there every day. Those deputies were there. Those police officers from Monroe PD and the surrounding agencies, and they'd come see me every day, and they said, "Bobby, how you doing?" And of course, as usual, you know, we're fine, and I'm okay. I'm gonna get through this. But in reality, I wasn't fine. I truly was dying inside.
I say this all the time. Bobby, as a blind individual, sees better than most people that has eyesight. So to me, Bobby Smith embodies a Louisiana State Trooper. It was so important to me and meant so much to me to be able to bring him back and to repin that badge on him at a graduating class, my first graduating class. To sit there and say, "Bobby, I know you felt like that you were no longer part of this organization, but to me, you've always been part of this organization." And listen to state troopers who go, "God, I'm going through a difficult time."
In addition to heading up the Louisiana State Police Trooper Assistance Program, Bobby speaks around the country to various organizations where he brings his message of hope and inspiration. But Bobby will tell you that one of the greatest moments in his life was when he met his soulmate.
15 minutes of our introduction, we were captivated by each other. And one of the first things Bobby said to me in the introduction was, "Nice to meet you." With Bobby being blind, there was touch. So I extended my hand, and then he felt my hand, and later he told me that he felt a type of electricity and warmth that did something to his soul. Bobby used to have what we called, or he called, blind days. And every so often he would say, like once a month, it would be where the reality of the loss of his sight and the loss of a career in law enforcement that he loved, and you know, trying to figure out how to cope in a sighted world with no sight. So we went to a trauma conference in Baton Rouge, and attending that conference, the presenter was Dr. Spencer Campbell. And he, as he talked about post-traumatic stress disorder and different symptoms, levels, etc., for a full day seminar, he tapped into Bobby's issues, psychologically, emotionally. And then Bobby, at the end of the seminar, just went up to Dr. Campbell and just began to weep and said, I need your help. Will you help me? And given his background, which was he had fought in the Vietnam War and was a veteran with a Purple Heart, and he was wounded himself and had a PhD in psychology. And so we began getting help from Dr. Campbell. And that's what really moved Bobby to a point of healing and strength, because he could pour his soul out to a man that could totally relate.
In today's law enforcement, there's two debts. There's the traditional debt, the debt that we all know about, that we come together and we stand up and we have the motorcycles that lead us to the graveyard. But there's that other debt that we don't talk about, that needs to be seen, needs to be talked about, and it needs to be discussed publicly. And that's that emotional debt, that debt that we're dying slowly because we have nowhere to go and no one to help us get through those nightmares that we see.
And we in this emergency response, family, whether you're a firefighter or you're a police officer, deep down we know we do need help. We're just afraid to ask for it because we're afraid that we will be judged as being weak. And that's what we're doing here today, is we're trying to get people involved to help us create an environment where these police and firefighters can come get help, where they feel safe and not judged as being weak, but just being human beings.
It's so important to have a program that can benefit what they're going through, so they can keep their families, they can keep their mental stability, keep their jobs that they love to do. It's not just a job, it's a calling.
Number one, you're around like-minded people. You're around people that have similar experiences to yourself. And if you know anything about the grieving process, or essentially how you handle what a potentially or the emotional process, it helps you that you have people that have a like-minded person that has similar experiences to yourself.
I need to talk to a human being that understands what I'm going through. That's what Bobby Smith has built. And I'm asking you, I'm imploring you, take a moment out of your life and to think about a time in your life when it was your deepest, darkest moment. Who came to your assistance? Who did you want to be there? Here's a chance to make sure those individuals have the ability of someone they can talk to, some place to go that will make a difference in their lives, so they can continue to do the job that not only do you want them to do, you expect them to do.
I do believe in my heart, and Bobby does too, we know that God put us together for such a time as this. And this is a convergence of it. And in talking with Bobby, even today, I said, I'm ready for this. The timing's now. And this is what we're going to do for the next 30 years of our life together.